The beauty of psalm space is all-encompassing. It's so much bigger than what you or I could ever imagine. We have so much inside of us that we don't even know exists. To know that other people feel this, that you're not alone, that there is help in the world for you.
This setting is a bit more contemporary, I think, than it is orchestral, if you like.
True. So far.
Definitely got a beat. And the juxtaposition of the voices versus the alto flute part that Peg plays so well is really interesting. That kind of round instrumental sound with voice has always been something that people gravitate toward, and I think we'll find that in this setting as well.
I've got to tell you, I'm a fan of jazz music, and so whenever I can throw in a seventh or a ninth, I always love to do that. This piece has that. This is the second tune to the end for me that I wrote, and I intended it to be very light in nature because Kumbaya is rather strong and very rhythmic, and it just hits you. It's like right there in your face. And then Prayer of St. Francis is subliminal. So it's kind of, it's there and it floats. So I said, well, what can I do in between? It's a tough road. What do I do? So I thought, something light in nature, happy, fun, easy to understand, perhaps a little bit more commercial than what I like to do. It's fun and beautiful and gentle and inspired by the hymn, Beautiful Savior. Beautiful Savior, King of creation, with a lot of extra ear candy. Then I wanted to add the texture of the four voices. Well, two of the voices are more of a round. The two voices just kind of do the same melody over and over and over and repeat. It's almost like, okay, I'm in this like record. It's going around and around and around, and they're singing the same stuff. And then I fit two more voices in that they're soloist voices. And Terry and Lisa do a great job kind of dabbling in between everything. So here we have this, and then we add on some bells, some percussion, a beat, some orchestra sound. It becomes very complicated, much more complicated than when I originally wrote it. I thought, This is a very simple tune. That's what I thought. I thought, this is a very simple tune, and perhaps it doesn't belong on the project. But then as I listened to it, and as we're doing it and getting it put together, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit more complicated.
More complicated than you might think.
There's a little bit of Bach, a little bit of Bach for all you classical people. It's a little bit of the Bach happening here and there, you know. It's like singable, but can you sing it all at the same time? Probably not. I mean, a Bach fugue or a Bach prelude, not as easily sung. But when it goes together, it seems to all mesh. So people can say, wow, that's a different timbre for a flute. What is that flute that I hear? Well, I'm using a larger flute called the alto flute. It's in between the C flute, the alto flute, and the bass flute. So it's right in the middle. I have always loved the alto flute. I love the sound of the alto flute. It's amazing. And I love playing it. It's a difficult instrument, but it's really cool. On psalm space, I play several different instruments, from piano to two different kinds of flutes. One is a C flute, which we have it's the most common flute out of all the flutes. So it would sound something like this. It has a higher sound. But on Beautiful Savior, I play a larger flute called the alto flute, and this is a fifth below the C flute. So I wanted to get different textures and different moods through the use of different instruments for psalm space. We're thrilled to be presenting the final piece on our first iteration of Psalm Space, the project that we hope reaches many, many people on all different scales and on all different levels. The Prayer of St. Francis was the final piece that I composed for this number of tunes. We're really thrilled to be bringing this to you. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. I can't think of anything better to end Psalm Space with than this text. The music, again, is very Taizé in character. The instruments that I use are a flute, clarinet. We use 2 singers. We use strings, and we use piano. We use percussion, and various sundry electronical, beautiful things alongside it. I'm got to tell you that the first time I ever wrote this into the computer, I was crying as I put it into finale. It was the first time that I'd ever cried, actually physically putting a song into electronic program. I couldn't believe it. The song means so much to me, and I hope it means that much to you as well.
It's poignant. Make me an instrument of thy peace. And I think it's difficult to listen to the song and not go away with a piece of it in your mind's ear that just keeps haunting you throughout the day. It's what happened to me anyway. It's a thick instrumental accompaniment to 2 voices, and Neil's added some electronic wizardry in with it, and the final product is quite different than most anything else you'll hear in terms of spiritual or religious music. And it's a new setting of the Prayer of St. Francis.
Terry Blackwood singing on it, my cousin, and Lisa Bevill. And they just did a marvelous job, and we're very thrilled with the results, and we hope that you find the same.
I wrote Jack into the clarinet part on purpose because I felt the clarinet part, as you listen to this, is almost like a third voice.
Yes.
It's super important in the harmonic structure of the piece. As you listen to the piece, it starts off in 1 major key, and I think that key was B-flat minor, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And as I write the piece, it transcends up a step, and then up another step, and then up another step. And so you'll hear this transcendence of the music going up.
Right.
And it repeats as well. And there's a reason for that, because I feel our spirit goes up, our soul goes up, and I wanted to represent that. I was also asked later on, after I'd presented the piece, to write a flute line onto it, and that's what I did. And so, in some case, that may be the quartet of the voices, although I felt that the flute was more of a counter melody, not so important. More maybe the frosting on the cake is what I intended on it. I know a lot of people know this prayer, and it has different significance to everyone. But I hope when you listen to this, you can listen to this with fresh ears and know that this is intended for today's audience, for people young and old, for people in all generations, in all parts of the world. We hope this is an inspirational and meaningful selection for you, and we're so glad that you're here to listen to it.
Amen.
just so thrilled to be here, number one, and to be able to do the project and have so many people involved and interested. It's like a dream to me. It's a dream. My hope for Psalm Space is that it creates a community of people that are empowered and enlightened to see beauty and hope and inspiration, maybe healing in their life. I hope this music and the message behind the music will inspire people to be all that they can be. I mean, I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but we have so much inside of us that we don't even know exists. And to be able to find that, whether that means being healed, whether it means to be emotionally helped, to be calmed, to know that other people feel this, that you're not alone, that there is help in the world for you, and that we all can benefit from a healing source. And I believe in this case that it's something higher than all of us, and I call that God. And if this project brings people that have never thought about God, never even considered believing in God, if this enlightens them to something bigger than themselves, that would be just amazing to me. My hope is that it will help people that I would have never thought that it would even help. It's that big of a project. And I hope and I pray that God speaks through Psalm Space. I want it always to be about something bigger than me, than you, something unexplainable, something invisible, but we know it exists.